Newcastle United are sticking to their guns and are not going to allow their sporting director Dan Ashworth to leave unless it's for the right amount of money. Reports coming out last night that Dan Ashworth has officially requested to leave Newcastle United, but and has been placed on gardening leave, but Newcastle could hold out for a compensation payment from Manchester United, should they wish to still pay it, for as much as 20 million if they want Dan Ashworth. Let me know your thoughts on that one down below. Good morning and welcome to the start of a new week. It is early. It's great to see lovely sunshine at this time in the morning. Normally it's pitch black and I am half asleep. I do have my cup of tea. Let's hope it's true when we are, back at Wembley soon. But off the back of another draw at St James's Park, 2-2. Who would have known it? Time machine action from Matt Ritchie returns to score the goal to save the blushes. To be honest, the loudest St James's Park got was that final 10 minutes. It was a strange game. First half, I thought we had chances, but none of them looked concrete. In fairness, Dubravka kept us in it in that first half, only for him to go and fall over. You can only write it in the world of Newcastle United. Sometimes it's like storyline telling. 4-4 with Luton, 2-3 with Forest, 2-2 with Bournemouth. I suppose we've seen plenty of goals, but somehow still coming out feeling, a bit of what the hell's going on. And Arsenal this weekend. What I will say, by the way, Matt Ritchie, and look, he'll be in a big conversation this summer window on what we're doing with Ritchie, what we're doing with a lot of players. As much as 6-7 players out of contract this summer window. His interview after the game was fantastic. He spoke about how much he loves the club, how hard he works on and off the pitch, and at his age, that he didn't know how many more goals he would score and how much he loved it. So yeah, big up Matt Ritchie. That was a very happy thing to see, but a lot of the game wasn't happy. Will Ritchie be one of the fans singing 10 more years for Ritchie? Could he get another year? Well, I'd be surprised if this person we're talking about stays another day, to be honest, because Dan Ashworth has been in high talk over the last, I would say, week or so at this point. In fair, a month ago it was when it was first mentioned of what was going to happen with Ashworth. Ashworth. He came out and said, Newcastle's the place for him. That's where he wants to be. Obviously, things have changed a little bit. The new Manchester United owner's on his way in. He's got a pal who's a pal with somebody else who's friends with Dan Ashworth. And it's been heavily linked to the fact that Ashworth was looking to go. He was in the crowd on Saturday. It was reported that he would be having a meeting with Newcastle United's staff members on the Friday ahead of the Saturday. And it's now being reported as of last night that Ashworth has basically put in his transfer request. He's put in his request that he would like to leave the club and head off to Manchester United. And we'll come back to that in a minute because I think it's quite a bold move. I guess you're trying to lay your intent. But imagine if I was in a job and I went, oh, by the way, I don't fancy working at this pub anymore. I want to work at the one over the road. You'd be like, what? Well, have you got the job yet? No. Well, why are you telling... So it's a bit odd, especially when it's now coming out that Newcastle, as you would think, had their contract watertight and are basically going to be trying to make the most out of this one. To be honest, you talk about when we got Ashworth in, obviously we had to wait a 6-month period because we didn't want to have to pay Brighton the compensation to basically pay out his contract and possibly a little bit extra on top. Newcastle have done the same. I've seen reports that Newcastle have gardening leave, and everyone keeps saying gardening leave. If you don't know what it is, it's basically when, because he's got so many contacts at the club, because he's working in so many kind of high-profile situations with Newcastle United, if his plan is to go and work at Manchester United in a month's time, we don't want him involved really anymore with the goings-on at Newcastle. So gardening leave is effectively, as far as I know it anyway, someone's probably got a better definition, we send him home and he can't be involved in some of these dealings while we wait to see if we're getting close to a contract on a new player or something, and Ashworth goes to Manchester United and just rings them up and goes, "Do you want to come to us?" Which again is onto restricted covenants and all sorts of stuff. But Newcastle will have a watertight deal or a fine tight deal on that contract of what he can, what he can't do. So if Manchester United want him, as in they want him to join the club straight away, Newcastle could well hold out for as much as £20 million in compensation. Now, I will say, there was... If Manchester United came in and offered $5 million for Ashworth, and it was just like a transfer offer, I would say no, to be honest, because I still stand by the fact that he's good at his job. We've seen what he did at England. We've seen what he did at Brighton. I think he was a class pickup for Newcastle. I don't think us... I joked in the last video, never mind bringing in young players, bring in young directors of football, build them up, sell them for 20 million. We found our new money. We found our new revenue. No, I would say, generally speaking, I would want to keep Ashworth. I don't think it's a situation of, look at all of the, all the money, let's try and do it. I think we're better off with him. What I will say, however, is he's not been here that long in the grand scheme of things. I don't think he's really had a time to prove to us maybe exactly what he can do. He was in England for years and years and years, and Brighton for, some time as well. So I think it is a loss for us. But I think Newcastle have done well to be very, very clever. And people are obviously bringing up the blooming Jesse Lingard loan where they wanted 15 million for him for 6 games. And Newcastle are kind of turning the screw and going, yeah, well, look what you did to us. We want 20 million back the other way. And it's thought, well, I think it was Keith Downey was reporting it was 10 million plus. So to say that it'll reach 20 million, I don't know. And that he also thinks it's a situation where Newcastle kind of want to sell up and move on. I've seen reports that Newcastle have got it written in the contract that Dan Ashworth could be on gardening leave for 2 years. No, I don't think. You can't do that. You can't put a man out sitting at home for 2 years. Unless it was fully paid, which in that case, do we want to be paying someone to be sat in their garden for 2 years just to spite? Some of you probably say, yes, put him out of work for 2 years and fully paid. So I mean, he would probably be the one laughing, probably be down back in Brighton on the beach again. Look, I think it's someone that didn't really want to lose. I think because we've only had him for 2 years, might make the transition easier. Hopefully, Newcastle have somebody lined up to kind of come and take the spot. I guess we'll never really see the full potential of what Dan Ashworth had to offer. As I say, he's already asked to go. It's on Manchester United's hands now. But at the same time, Newcastle want as much as 20 million compensation. That would be great to spend in the summer. But we are losing a director of football that's hard to return. And as much as Newcastle, as I say, could turn the screw and go, yeah, good luck, give us the 20 million that we want. And to be honest, we could with the new owner coming in and having a bit extra cash or whatever, we could, and 20 million wouldn't be FFP because it's not the football team, I think. It's not the first team. We could potentially hold out, but I see it being a situation where Newcastle will probably at some point go, okay, let him go. Let's take the money, let's move on, rather than letting this just hang on forever. So, it's a shame, to be honest. That I think it's... for me to say that, if someone came and offered me, or offered you working at, as I say, the pub, restaurant, shop, wherever you are, someone came and offered you 5 times your wage, you're probably going to listen. And it seems for me a bit of it looks a poor move on Ashworth because he's left one job into another. He was here for the long term, wanted to make it work. 2 years later he's gone already. But having said that, if one of your pals comes and offers you a job to go work with them and possibly, at a global club at Manchester United where control is being spent, where he's going to get full control of everything, supposedly, and get paid 3 times the amount, or you probably, whether it was, as I said this already, whether it was 5 years, 2 years, 2 months or 2 weeks, you're probably going to listen to someone offer quadrupling your wage. So, yeah, it's a shame. it's good to know Newcastle have been sensible and are making sure, as I've mentioned at the very start of this video, we're going to at least see a bit of pay. But you let me know your thoughts on the Ashworth situation. Is 20 million fine for you, or would you rather let him sit and try and get more for it? Are you disappointed by the fact that Ashworth really hasn't kind of got to do his job before he's kind of been pinched in a way? Let me know your thoughts down below. Big week on the lead up to Arsenal this weekend, so we'll see what happens next in this mad world of Newcastle, and hopefully we can, get a bit of a pick up, because I think it will be a tough game this weekend. Thanks for watching, guys. Drop a like, subscribe if you haven't already. Loads of Newcastle content as always. Enjoy your week. Have a good one, and I'll catch you later.